Okay, I'm making this video about long tubes and short tube headers and the pros and cons of both because I see it repeated so many times in the forums, the same questions. So here it goes. On short tubes, yes, they have pretty good sound for a stock setup. They don't really make a lot of power and they're a pain in the ass to install. And if you use the DNA headers like I had, yes, they're equal quality to the BBK version, but the problem with it is their darn studs they gave you are not long enough. You have to get new studs, and they never could stay tight. And I'm not kidding, they're a pain in the ass to install. It took me a whole weekend. Versus long tubes, here and get mid to upper range power, which is great for these cars. Generally with the long tubes, heck, I have them on myself in about an hour and a half. The one thing I will recommend, I'm doing either headers, I would definitely get new studs and nuts from Ford. Makes the install a lot faster. Plus the fact the stock hardware rusts pretty good. The other thing I like about long tubes, now these are boreless, but look how the flange is on boreless. And Hooker Blackhearts are very similar if you can find Hooker. It's hard to find the boreless. But the nice thing is, the tubes even coming out of the flange are more in shape and not crushed down like the BBKs that I've seen. Now, and I also like the fact that Borla uses a open style collector, and so does Hooker Blackheart if you can find them. I would recommend one of these two brands first before I go to BBK. If you go to BBK, before you ever install them on the car, have the extra bungs put in the back two cylinders for your O2s. And here's why. Yes, it sucks because you're only measuring one cylinder aside with using your upper sensors here, but the thing about doing it, so these are the worst two cylinders on the 3.7 as far as airflow, so you're reading the worst two cylinders was not bad, and you don't have to use extensions with doing it this way, and you don't blow through O2 sensors like insanely fast, because I had my front O2 sensors down the collectors, and in a year's time I probably put 8 sets in my car. And it wasn't worth it. And it runs actually 100% better having it up here because your sensors get heated up like they're supposed to be, and don't have to crank up the voltage on the heater circuit, and they last 4 times as long. These are over a year old and haven't replaced them. And I just put my rear O2 sensors back in the collectors. So if you get BK, have extra bungs put in. They can weld extra bung, and that's where this is on the back cylinder on each side, and it's probably a foot back. And yes, they can tune for it. MPT will tune for it, and so I runs MPT. They'll tune for it. They'll adjust it. You just tell them in your tune form that, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what brand header I have. But that's pretty much it on and plus the fact long tubes are, like I said, grab you more power through the RPM range. You'll really notice it. It's going to be plenty loud. I run a catless X pipe that came with it. Oh, it was in my trunk. It came with it, and I have the Speed Daddy cat back. And that's, pretty much it on that. But just thought I'd do this to help answer some questions.